everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can get caught up on some of the latest news involving our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes. Hopefully this one makes the list. And to everyone who has subscribed to the channel, we are inching ever so close to 9,000 subscribers. And once we get there, I will change the fit for just one show. Also, thank you to everyone who has become a member of the Browns Latest Dog Pound by scanning the QR code, and everyone who gets their comments into the viewer comment section. Now, coming up on today's show, everyone is so worried about the offensive line, but I'm here to tell you that's the least of our concerns. Also, you may have noticed one running back getting a little extra time in that game against the Eagles the other day, but I'm here to tell you that's probably not a good thing for him. Here, to figure out the Browns' plans at quarterback, all you have to do is go back and watch some old Super Bowl tapes. And then in the viewer comments, we are going to be joined by a very special guest, and we'll answer the question, which one of our rookie quarterbacks was drafted solely to become the backup? We'll figure it all out, but first things first. Here's the schedule for today. They'll practice at 12:15. I got to tell you, the worst thing I saw yesterday was Deshaun Watson posting Instagram videos of him working out and working on his dropbacks. I'm here to tell you that nobody wants to see that in Cleveland ever again, either out in Berea or down at Huntington Bank Field. Doesn't matter. Nobody wants to see it. Myles Garrett talked yesterday too, but he wasn't talking speeding tickets. And Jamari Thrash, he also chimed in. He got to spend some time up on the podium, as did Dylan Sampson. But Thrash, I thought, said something really interesting. He said the biggest thing he worked on in the offseason was catching the ball because the NFL ball is bigger than the college ball, and he had to get used to that. And so this is all in preparation for that game on Saturday against the Rams. The Browns are like a 7.5 or 8-point favorite in that preseason game. No Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's hurt. I don't think he's going to be back for a while. If you're drafting, you got fantasy drafts this weekend, stay away from Matthew Stafford because you won't see him on Saturday. But you may see some of the Browns starters, including the offensive line. Now, everybody's so worried about the offensive line, but man, oh man. Okay, remember the other day, the backups were in, outside of DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones was in there, but look at these PFF ratings from the backups. Look at Tevin Jenkins. Now, this group, they ran for 132 yards the other day with the backups and DeJuan Jones. But DeJuan Jones was limited. He was only in there for 21 snaps, 32% of the time. But look at Tevin Jenkins and Javion Cohen. They had team-leading grades, PFF grades, of 83.7 and 83.4. Now, some say this puts Zach Zinter potentially on the bubble. Now, right tackle Jackson Barton, look at this. A 75.6 pass blocking grade versus the Eagles. Nothing wrong with that. Whippler currently Luke Whippler holds the NFL's best preseason pass blocking grade at 86.7. These are backups, folks. Like everybody's so worried about the offensive line. Now, here's what it looks like now. Left tackle, DeJuan Jones. Here's your starters. Jones, Bitonio, Posick, Teller, and Conklin. And then there's Lucas Jenkins, Whippler, Zinter, and Jackson Barton. There's going to be a bit there. I mean, this coaching staff's going to have some decisions to make. Well, I don't know if they're going to. The chances of them keeping 10 linemen are not that great. But this is a good problem to have, and this is why I keep telling you to quit worrying about the offensive line because these guys can play. So somebody else who played a lot against the Eagles was Pierre Strong Jr. Now, you know how I feel about Pierre Strong Jr. But I will tell you, he played 65% of the Browns' offensive snaps against the Eagles. That's 43 plays. The other running backs combined, Amani Marshall, Travion Williams, and Toa Tua, they combined for 23 snaps. Combined, the three of them. Now, you'd say, oh, that must mean Pierre Strong is in the driver's seat for the third. Until Judkins comes back, he must be in the driver's seat to be the third running back. And I'm here to tell you, absolutely not. I think they were just trying to get him some tape so he can shop himself to other teams because I think Amani Marshall is really making a stake for that third spot until Judkins comes back. Once Judkins gets back, this is Judkins, Sampson, and Jerome Ford, the backfield. Now, Judkins, who knows? I mean, he could be back anytime. We're just waiting on the NFL's investigation. But to me, if the cut down day was today, Amani Marshall would be that third running back. Just he's shown me enough, and I've told you I'm over Pierre Strong. He looks slow to me. I just don't think he. We know what we got with him. We saw it last year. We can move on. I'm ready for fresh blood. Give me Amani Marshall. Now, if you want to figure out what the Browns are trying to do at quarterback, all you have to do is look at old Super Bowl tapes. Take a look at the list of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks who sat the bench as rookies. Look at this list. Tom Brady sat behind Drew Bledsoe during his rookie season, then later became a starter and won multiple Super Bowls. We know that. He's the greatest ever. Aaron Rodgers, he was a backup to Brett Favre for several years before he took over and won a Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes, that guy, all he does is get to the Super Bowl. He sat behind Alex Smith for a year. Drew Brees, he didn't start immediately. Remember, he was with the Chargers first, and then he won a Super Bowl with the Saints. Nick Foles, how about that? He looked like he was going to be a career backup. And then with the Eagles, becomes a Super Bowl MVP. Eli Manning. Eli, when he came out, he was not as much fanfare as Peyton Manning. He didn't start his full rookie season. He ends up winning 2 Super Bowls. And how about the guy who did it last, Jalen Hurts? He did not start for the majority of his rookie season. He was sitting behind Carson Wentz and then took over in week 14 of the 2020 season. And then now he's got himself a Super Bowl ring. So this is the thing, folks. They know what they have in Shedeur. They see the potential, and they want to develop that. They don't want to rush him in and set him back. So that's all you have to do is look at those quarterbacks. A rookie has never won the Super Bowl. So there's no point in starting him this year. Let him learn. He'll learn a lot from Flacco. Let him develop, get used to the pro game, and then set him up to win. And then turn it over to Shedeur. So let the rookies ride the bench for a little while. It's not such a bad thing. Now, something that never rides the bench, of course, is the viewer comments. And the first one we have today, now this is an old one, comes from back when I went to training camp. It's 18/59/76 who says, "Who's that handsome fella with you at training camp, Grizz? And what's his take on the Browns quarterback situation?" Well, now, she's referring to, remember this picture? We took this picture down at training camp. That's me and my son, Noah. And he is the greatest quarterback who has never played the game. He's a great pitcher, great baseball player, president of the Bowling Green club team. And I'll tell you what, 18, it'd be really neat. Man, if he was only here, it'd be so cool if we could. There he is! Look at that! There's Noah. Hey, say hi to everybody, Noah.
Hi. Hey, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that.
How do you know? Oh, wait, she said who was the handsome fella you were with. Okay.
Right, okay.
Now, 18 wants to know, and she's been waiting now for almost 3 weeks. What is your take on the Browns quarterback situation?
Well, I'll start this off by saying I am a fan of Shedeur Sanders. With that being said, I think the Browns 100% made the right decision by naming Joe Flacco our starter. Let's not forget who Joe Flacco is. Super Bowl winner, 20-year veteran. Like, you said it all. Shedeur Sanders, he's not going to win a Super Bowl his rookie year. I think that is a great person to learn from, build off of, and one day Shedeur Sanders will have all the capabilities to be a great quarterback in the NFL. As far as Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, I don't have as much to say about them. We'll see how it goes. Dylan Gabriel surprised me in the preseason. A little better. After what we saw at training camp, I thought, well, Flacco was far.
Yeah, we were on the same page. We saw the same thing. Flacco balled out that practice we were at.
The ball looks different coming out of his hand. You could tell he's been there before. But not far behind was Shedeur Sanders. I thought he looked great, and then we saw him in the preseason as well. He also looked great. Now, Dylan Gabriel, the ball looked different for a different reason coming out of his hand. It almost looks like a basketball when he's throwing it. But with that being said, in the preseason, he really surprised me.
Yeah, he did that, and that's exactly what I said. I said he looked way better than I thought in that preseason game. Love and Lovey is the next viewer comment. says just last week, Nathan Zagura, who you know I have tons of respect for Nathan Zagura, said that Dylan Gabriel was drafted to be the backup quarterback. And he said that as long as Shador continues to develop the way he's been, and we all know he will, the Browns see him as the solution to their quarterback problem. And that's the whole point, is showing you that list of rookies who sat and then won a Super Bowl. This is where I think the Browns are at. It is about developing him. You see it on every level. When you're a rookie, you come in, you have to adjust to the next level.
Yeah, well, at least in my lifetime, this is a completely different problem this year than what we have dealt with in the past. We have dealt with nobody being able to be a solid quarterback on the Cleveland Browns. And this year, I think we have 4 potential decent at minimum quarterbacks, and that's something we've never dealt with in the Cleveland Browns franchise.
Yeah, true. I mean, we've had a quarterback competition for once,
right?
And I mean, the injuries kind of, the hamstring injuries kind of threw it off a little bit, but still, it was still a competition. So, Big 3030-S8L starts YouTube handle and then ends as a password. Big 3030 says the Browns brought in way too many quarterbacks. He said, I hope they trade Shador because they're not putting him in a good position. Both rookies need at least 7 games each to receive a real evaluation. How are they going to do that? So what do you think? Do you think both rookies need to play? And then how many games do you think is a good amount?
I don't see how that's possible, especially with Joe Flacco as our starter. I see him starting at least 3 or 4 games, and then Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are not going to split the rest of that time. It's just not going to work like that. As far as trading Shador Sanders, I think that is for lack of a better word, I think that is a terrible decision. I think we should keep Shador Sanders around. Joe Flacco's not going to hang out much longer, as much as we might like him to. But Shador Sanders is going to learn from him and become a great quarterback.
Yeah, I've said all along, I think Kenny Pickett is your tradable asset. I think that's why they're trying to get him healthy enough to showcase him a little bit. And because New Orleans, that's his old coaches over there. I think that would be the perfect fit. But in no world that exists is Shador Sanders going to be traded by the Cleveland Browns.
Right. I agree.
Never going to happen. Ricardo Jackson says, I think the best thing for the Browns is if they fire the head coach, especially if they don't give Shador a chance to be the starter, because Shador is the best quarterback on the Browns. Where are the kids at on this? Do we like Kevin Stefanski as the coach, or should he be fired if they don't get it together this year?
Personally, I love Kevin Stefanski, especially after what we saw what Joe Flacco could do in his offense a few years ago when we had him. And now, to add on top of that, a couple more targets. We got Jerry Jeudy. We got Isaiah Bond coming in. And I think David I think David Njoku's going to have a great year. And as a Bowling Green guy, I have to mention, I think Harold Fannin Jr. is going to be a great asset. I will mention Joe Flacco's most targeted receiver was David Njoku. So
yeah, and that's the thing. That's the one facet of his offense we haven't even really seen in the preseason.
Right.
I mean, a little bit, but man, oh man, Njoku went nuts. Get him on your fantasy teams with Flacco at quarterback.
I agree. And all these extra targets, I think Joe Flacco's going to be able to let it fly, and Jerry Jeudy's going to get downfield and
yeah, I think Stefanski's safe to a point, but they do have to show improvement. But I think that Haslam has given him a mulligan on the whole Watson thing. And so I think he's going to get a little extra time because of that. Probably get through this year, but then after that, I think he's really going to be on the hot seat. So, all right, we'll end it with this. Tony Harris, 4749, who says he's teary-eyed over the loss of the quarterback tracker, LOL. So he's not, I mean, he's kidding about being but no more quarterback tracker. The days of the quarterback tracker are over. I mean, the big knock on the quarterback tracker are the 7-on-7s. And you were with me at camp and you saw the 7-on-7s. I mean, is that a justifiable way to judge a quarterback's accuracy? And I say it's good early on at the beginning of camp, but when you get deeper into camp, 7-on-7s, come on, you can't be counting that.
Right. I mean, it is what it is. But what I will say is you can still notice a difference between quarterbacks in the 7-on-7s. So I say what you want, no pass rush. It is what it is.
Do you have an example? What did you see out there?
I saw Joe Flacco and Shador Sanders looking very comfortable and making great decisions when throwing the football.
But the other thing is too, they just throw darts, man.
Yeah.
Like just darts.
Joe
And
Flacco, when it comes out of his hand,
it is different. It's different. So that's what we're saying, folks. Just be patient. Shador will get his chance. But I mean, like we said yesterday, Flacco. We knew all along it was going to be Flacco. So not so bad. All right. Well, hey, this one's got to get back to school. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thanks for having me, everybody.
All right, that's good. Hey, are you going to say Can you say the tagline at the end? Do you remember what it is?
I might need help with this one.
Go Browns. We'll see you next time.
Go Browns. We'll see you next time.
Go Browns. We'll see you next time.